I'm a big fan of dystopian settings in games, and the way it's presented to the player can mean a lot in regards to my overall enjoyment. One of my favourite games of all time is Dark Souls because of the way the different areas connect to give you a sense of a fluid, living, breathing world. Lisa, or Lisa the Painful RPG as it's called by some, is one of my favourite games of the past couple of years in part because of the world surrounding the player. Fallout never captured my interest as I found it to be a relatively safe setting when it came to the world building, where the circumstances regarding the downfall of civilization weren't a main focus. While zombie or nuclear disasters are relatively standard, Lisa's premise is completely new. A world without women? Alright then. Other dystopian settings in media normally have a big twist along the lines of, insert threat here isn't the true problem, it's the other survivors. And yeah, we've seen that before. Without women and Lisa, the world's a bit fucked up for sure, but not borderline catastrophic. But still, everything goes to shit because of humanity's desperation and desires. The game makes it very clear there is nothing to really blame but ourselves. People could have come back from this. They didn't. The game is pretty dark with its focus on the urges of mankind, such as transvestite prostitution rings and the big kicker, child rape. It doesn't fuck around. A good sense of humour is present throughout as it realises its absurdities in some of its environments and characters, while also managing to keep the tone serious when it's appropriate. The humour is pretty fucked up at times because there's not really much to be happy about, but honestly, the game does have a few genuinely light-hearted areas. It's nice to see another side to humanity now. Some that may have came off as disgusting in the previous world are now the best people to embrace the new way of life. While some of the humans left can be written off as wacky harmless nutjobs, there are some truly fucked up people in the world, which isn't just limited to the antagonists. The main character, Brad himself, is just as damaged as anyone else, and you wonder if his goal of saving Buddy is just. He has selfish reasons in his attempt for redemption in the search of his adopted daughter. The game even goes out to try and make you seem like a piece of shit as you think about the ramifications of your objective. What truly is the best thing to do? Save Buddy from her fate in Doom Society, or subject her to a lifetime of rape in order to repopulate it? The options given to the player are sickening, and I really like how hard it is to justify your actions no matter what you think is the best way to go forward. To talk about the world that the game takes place in, I really appreciate that it doesn't just hand all of the lore to you. Snippets of information are hidden in NPC dialogue and locked away in the notes of hard to reach areas. You become really invested in the world around you, so the constant bits of information keep you raring to search as much of the upcoming areas as you can. As well as learning about the past, the different cultures and traditions that have emerged since The Flash are really fun to see. It gives us a good glimpse at how different people react to the situation, whether it be acceptance, denial, or rely on a higher power to pull them through. Seeing fragments of the previous world is somewhat refreshing as it adds some normality, and a decent chunk of the humour in the game can come from this, as it seems that no matter what state the world is in, you'll always get your hardcore gym nuts. Of course, another key component of any RPG will be the fights, and this game does a damn good job with its battles. The game is pretty Earthbound inspired in regards to the combat due to it having the enemies produce weird commands mid-battle. Sometimes it can be pointless and be just there for humour, and other times it can convey their heartfelt feelings of doing battle during more plot pivotal moments. It helps to remind the player that you're fighting another person, not just some mindless drone who only knows how to spam the same 3-attack combo over and over. The fighting mechanics are relatively simple, having the game's equivalent of mana and standard attacks, but what helps keep it fresh throughout is the huge cast of characters you meet throughout the game that can come into your party. You can swap out party members for new ones as you see them, and they should be roughly the same level as your party due to the game's relatively sparse grinding zones. Every character has a unique playstyle. You get the standard roles of your heavy hitter and your healer, but they all have vastly different pros and cons to them. Bo, for example, is a huge AoE healer and is arguably the best in the game. Birdie Hole, on the other hand, relies on constant drinking to deal out potent damage and substantial healing. Some characters are objectively better than others, but that isn't really a bad thing as it allows you to challenge yourself in different ways through multiple playthroughs and have a fresh experience each time. Because of the huge cast, I've played through this game 3 times, and I would have easily gone for a 4th if I hadn't become hooked on Dark Souls. The music is also an absolute joy in this one. Whether the song playing is a mishmash of oddities for some of the nut jobs or a beautiful piano piece, it absolutely fits the tone of the current situation. The first 10 minutes is such a great use of the soundtrack that I bought it just based off of that alone. In a lot of cases, the incorporation of different sounding instruments can result in some really memorable themes, especially for some bosses. Some people say that the sign of good music is its ability to tell a story, and it definitely does that in here, working well with the sparse dialogue and context you can get from places and characters. If an engaging world with a morally challenging story appeals to you, pick this game up. It's only £7 and it'll be the best £7 you ever spend.